Well,
All right.
thank you so much for joining us today for Budget Ninja. This is just a short presentation, help you with budgeting. Not a fun word, but I had to add ninja to it to make it a little more interesting. We're going to talk about the 30-20 rule today. I don't know if you're familiar with that, but it's a way that you can budget that's doable, because let's face it, budgets are a lot like New Year's resolution. Easy to put in place, but hard to follow through on. So we're going to go through Budget Ninja. Let's see if I can get this going here. Here we go. So right now we're going to talk about wants versus needs. This is a huge topic when it comes to budgets, because our wants and needs are completely different for each individual person. When you're creating a monthly budget, one of the most important steps is to categorize what is a want and what's a need. It's also one of the most difficult steps to make because it's different from person to person. It's also easy to miscategorize wants and needs. If you ask my son, an Xbox is a need. If you ask me, an Xbox is a want. So those wants versus needs they vary from person to person. So knowing that is half the battle, really. So we're going to take a look at the differences between wants and needs. So the needs, of course, are things that you need to do your job, to live, daily expenses. Your rent or mortgage, of course, is a need. Your utility bills, nobody wants to be in the dark or without water. Your health care and your therapy are also needs. We also have medication as a need. Food, of course, except for Andrea's cat, who's getting way too much food. Work uniforms, if that's a thing, dress clothes. I know that I just looked at my budget and realized that I spend a lot on work clothes. So on weekends, when I go into my closet to wear something a little bit more casual, I don't have it because I have a lot of work clothes. And also commuting. I commute from Minto, North Dakota. So commuting is definitely something that I have to do. Now, wants are a little bit different. Wants are entertainment, dining out, home purchases. Maybe you're upgrading because you want to, not because you need to. Traveling, which I know we all would like to be able to be doing right now. Coffee. This I don't know if you can see me, but this is definitely a want on my scale. Monthly subscriptions or memberships. That's a big one. Somebody recently told me about an app that you can put on your phone that tracks all of the monthly subscriptions that you put on your account, on your email. I was appalled that I was paying for about four subscriptions that I didn't even use anymore. If you're interested, app, it actually goes through all of the things that you've signed up for with your email and allows you to unsubscribe or stop paying for things that you're not using. If you're interested in that, I'll send it off to Andrea so that she can send you what that app is. It really is helpful. TV or music streaming accounts. I don't know if you have an OK Google or an Alexa home. I know that I was paying $10 for Amazon Music and had no idea. So those are the things that you want that possibly you don't need. Excuse me, and I'm going to take a drink of my Starbucks. And new clothing. New clothing is one of my vices, along with my Starbucks coffee, is new clothing. But is it a want or is it a need? Do you need it for your job, or do you want it because it just is going to look nice? So Starbucks, oddly enough, it's called Starbucks because it does take your bucks. This is, like I said, one of my vices. Let's say you go into Starbucks every day, depending on the drink you order, and this is low. I'm saying, the average is between $3.43 or $4.43, but I've seen people spend $7 to $8 on a single drink at Starbucks. So on an average, anywhere between $3.43 and $4.43. If you're ordering a tall drink, it's costing you can read this, on average, $3.34 and $12.21 annually, and over $6,000 a year. That is painful. I probably am not guilty of getting Starbucks every day, but when you take a look at the budget and you take a look at what you possibly could be spending on coffee, it is really painful. If you're getting a venti, which is the tallest of the tall Starbucks, and you're getting that every day over the next 5 years, you could be spending close to $8,000 on coffee. That's a good chunk of change on coffee. So I'm not saying to not do the coffee, because I know that people are safer if I do coffee. So I know there are people out there that are safer if they've had their coffee. So I'm saying that life is short, have the coffee, but be creative. There are so many ways that you can do creative buying, creative purchasing for your wants. Starbucks has a rewards program where you can get free coffee. If you bring a reusable cup, you get money off, free refills for certain reusable cups. And also, they have birthday freebies. Birthday freebies are a huge thing. My husband and I take part of this all the time because we share the exact same birthday. So one of our favorite things to do is to come to Grand Forks and hit all the freebie spots for her birthday and pay nothing. It's just a fun way to kind of eat our way around Grand Forks for free and spend some time together. But those are the freebie things that you should be seeking out. And when you have a want that is expensive, like Starbucks, finding those creative outlets, coupons, the rewards programs, the birthday club, things like that, make it a little bit more doable in your budget. So this is a good question that I get quite often. Is savings a need or a want? If your budget is tight, it can be easy to stop putting money aside on savings or long-term financial goals, such as emergency savings, paying off debt, retirement funds, life insurance, disability insurance. This sort of spending feels like a want because it's not an immediate need. You can survive this month even if you don't put away money for retirement or your emergency fund. However, saving and getting out of debt should also be considered needs because they are investments in your long-term financial well-being. So saving should definitely fall into your need category, even if it's just a little bit of your budget. So using the 50-30-20 budgeting rule, I don't know how many of you have heard of this rule. 50-30-20 is usually what it's called. If you use the 50-30-20 budget system, your expenses will break down to 50% of your after-tax income spent on your needs. So that's 50% of your check spent on your needs, 30% spent on your wants, and 20% spent on savings and debt reduction. The reason I like the 50-30-20 rule is because it still allows you to have those wants. It still allows you to budget because life is short to pay bills just consistently and only all day, all week, all month. Nothing is more depressing than getting your check and knowing 99% of it is going to bills. So have you ever heard the term pay yourself first? That is where that 30% comes in. You really need to take care of yourself and do some of those wants because otherwise it's easy to fall off the budget train. So the 50-30-20 budgeting rule, we're going to just go over what that means. So 50% goes to your needs, such as your mortgage and your rent, your food, your groceries, your transportation, your bills, your medical, your insurance, all those adulting things that are not fun. That's what 50% goes to. The 30% is kind of the fun fraction of the pie. You get to go to the dining out, the vacations, the shopping, Netflix, which we've done a lot over this last year, or Hulu. I tell you, I never thought that I would watch literally everything on Netflix, but I think I'm almost there. So the 30% of the wants are the things that make you happy, the things that you want to do that are going to bring that smile to your face and you've worked hard for. That 30% is allotted for that. And then
Nancy,
yeah, go ahead.
We have a quick question in the chat.
Sure.
With the 50-30-20, are all three based on post-tax or only the 50% per the prior slide?
Post. Yep. So
okay.
this is your, yep.
All post.
Yep.
We have one more. What about like cable? So you talked about streaming services, but what about like cable? Where might that fit with want or need?
So it's so funny because cable is one of those, remember how we were talking about at the beginning, we were talking about wants versus needs and how it looks different for everybody. So now that we're in this pandemic I hate saying new normal, but I'm going to say it again. The new normal, we have a need for the internet access. We have the need for the cable. Whereas before this, cable was kind of a want. You didn't really necessarily need it. You can do a lot on your phone, which also falls into a need or a want based on your job or how you live your life. It's so different for everybody. Now, cable for me, being able to watch television is a want for me, not necessarily a need. However, the internet access and the Wi-Fi is a need because I need it to do my job. So it really is kind of one of those fine lines. It's hard to tell from person to person, but you will kind of, when you start kind of categorizing what you need those things for, it really becomes apparent whether it's a want or a need. I know that's not a complete solid answer, but it really just depends on person to person.
We did have one more, and I think this might fall kind of into that same spot of, donations to the church or charitable organizations, kind of depending, again, does it kind of fall into that? Depends on what your needs and wants looks like.
It sure does, because now I can say that there are some people that those donations and those tithing that you do to your church is a need based on your mental health, is a need based on your how you feel about your life. If that's going to make you feel good about your life, if that's going to make you feel good about what you're doing with your finances, then absolutely that falls under medical needs, for personal health, for personal well-being. It really just is based on the person to person. But that's something that you really have to investigate for yourself. If it's something you can't imagine yourself not doing, then that definitely is a need in your life. So it really just, it goes from person to person. I wish I could give you a more concrete, but we are not cookie cutter people. So it definitely is different from person to person. So how does the 50, 30, 20 work? This division of expenses means there's absolutely nothing wrong with buying the fancy bread or the milk or subscribing to Netflix. The 50, 30, 20 budgeting rule of thumb allows you to spend 30% of your take-home pay on things you want. By assigning a concrete value to your wants, however, you prevent yourself from overspending. I have found that when I use the 50, 30, 20 rule, I keep a notebook every month and I divide it by the 50, 30, 20, and I write down the things that I've spent my money on. And then the next month, I look at the previous month to see, was it worth it? Do I need to do that again? Do I want to spend my money on that again? The option of choice is always something that we as humans like to have, and I definitely like to have that. But seeing it in writing and knowing where your money is going definitely makes you reevaluate a few things. The key to budgeting is to become more aware of how you're spending the money. This allows you not only to spend within your means, but also to make sure that your spending aligns with your values and priorities, which kind of goes back to some of those questions about needs versus wants. If tithing is a need in your heart and your life, then that's definitely something you're going to want to put in that 50% range. It just varies from person to person. Just an example of a 50, 30, 20 budget. Jane's monthly income is 30,000 divided by 12 is 2,500. She spends the 1,250 on needs, the 750 on wants, and the 500 for savings. It's so funny because when I look at this, I think, wow, that seems really easy, but then life happens. And sometimes you have to get off track, a medical bill, a dental bill, a car accident. I'm thinking about driving home last night and I almost saw a couple of those. Those things tend to happen and you're going to have to adjust as the months and as life goes, because sometimes life likes to remind you that it's in charge.
Oh, quick question, Nanci. Remind us again where maybe life insurance, like auto insurance, is that included kind of in transportation, and kind of like your life insurance also kind of in that need?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Those are things that you need without those things, you could be in some serious trouble. So those are definitely a need. Adjusting your spending wants, when you want to cut your spending to save money, eliminating wants is often the easiest place And just some examples, like if you go to a gym and you pay that gym membership and you're not using it to its full extent, seek out places that will allow you to use their gym equipment for free. Just an example, in Minto, I live in Minto, North Dakota, the big metropolis of Minto, and we don't have a gym, but the fire hall has workout equipment that their firefighters use, and they will allow you to use it if you just call and ask. So they have a lot of machines. Just getting creative in those ways that you can cut some spending and still get what you want and what you physically need out of things. Just because it's something that you need at the time doesn't set that in stone. Maybe one month you absolutely need to have cable. There's some reason that you absolutely need to have cable. It doesn't mean that the next month that has to be a need. This is the beauty of the 50, 30, 20, is you can switch it and change it month to month to make it work for you. If you're paying $1,700 a month in rent, you can save significant money by, of course, downsizing, moving to a smaller home or apartment, getting a roommate, which is not always something that we can do as adults, temporarily moving in with family. I think most of us would say that's a last resort, but if it's a possibility, that is always something that can save you money. And of course, commuting to work. I commute to work. I obviously couldn't walk, but when it's nicer outside, walking to work is an option. Taking public transit, carpooling is an option for me. Biking as well. So tools to help you get this 50, 30, 20. I don't know if you've heard of nerdwallet.com. The name of it just is amusing to me, so I always refer to it. Nerdwallet.com has fantastic they have financial everything, but they also provide a free digital 50, 30, 20 calculator. It looks like this. So what you would do is input what you have, and it's going to tell you and divide what your necessities, wants, and savings should look like for that month. Based on that, you can then make your budget for the month and attempt to stick to it, because let's face it, it is an attempt every month. Sometimes we can't stick to it. Sometimes we simply don't want to stick to it. And sometimes it's just not feasible to stick to it. So don't be hard on yourself if 1 month out of the year, 2 months out of the year that you just can't stick with that budget. It's all in the effort of trying. Budgets are definitely one of those things that you can try, fail it for the rest of your life. But as long as you keep trying, that's half the battle right there. So the 50, 30, 20 budget really helps you to kind of visualize where all of that money goes. I will tell you, I have a habit, and I did it this morning when I ordered this venti coffee. I have in my mind, how long did I have to work for that coffee, and is it worth it? That really slaps me in the face most of the time and allows me to stop doing what I'm doing. I do the same thing when I'm shopping. Oddly enough, I do it when I'm shopping for myself, but not so much for my son. I need to start. But do I need that shirt? How long did I work for that shirt? And is that shirt going to provide me with something that's going to help me excel? Is it worth the $30? It really just takes a moment to reflect on that. I really have started to look at prices a lot differently doing that. Simple ways to trim your spending. Move things around. Have you ever heard the term robbing Peter to pay Paul? We've all kind of been there where we've had to take from one place to give to another. Sometimes you have to do that. Sometimes I know that a lot of people do the Dave Ramsey, where you pay off, you kind of snowball your finances, where you pay one off and then take that payment and add it to another one. For some, that really works. So moving things around, taking a closer look at your categories. Some of the items that you've indicated as needs actually may be wants, or vice versa. I know in my family, we took a look at our cable package from Mid-Continent, and I had no idea we were spending so much for cable. And by just moving to the Netflix platform, we saved almost $75 a month, just from a basic cable plan to Netflix. Now, I will admit I miss a couple of shows, but after you haven't had them for a while, it's just not something that you need to do. And truly, let's face it, you can find most of the things you want to watch on the internet anyway, some way or somehow. So trimming spending on the needs, the cost of your necessary spending isn't always fixed. Shop around for a better phone rate, a better cable package, or insurance. I just did this as well. I think half of our battle is sometimes we just don't want to put forth the effort to shop around because we're already established. We already have our payment set up. We don't want to do it. But I just shopped around for the first time for car insurance and saved almost $125 a month. I was kind of astounded that I was overpaying for my car insurance. But it was that mentality that I just didn't want to put forth the effort. My payments were already set. I already knew what they were, but I was overpaying completely. Trim your spending on wants. Consider downsizing your wants if they're taking over your budget. I always go back to Netflix because I know a lot of people that have Netflix, Hulu, Sling, they've kind of, I see you, Andrea, they kind of go to all of those platforms thinking that it's cheaper. But when you add all of those together, you're really paying equal, if not more than a regular cable package. So being really aware of what you want to watch, investigating Netflix and Hulu and seeing which one is best fit for you. Maybe you like crime documentaries like me and want to go with a platform that really likes to focus on those. It's really just shopping around. And that's an important part of your budget. Easy ways to cut expense. Consolidate your debts using a balance transfer card. I think I can really honestly say probably 85% of us have all had a credit card that's maybe gotten a little bit away from us. There are credit cards out there that want you to transfer your balance of a high interest rate credit card to a lower interest rate credit card, and that can save you hundreds of dollars. So take a look at your interest rates on your credit cards and look at your local credit union or your local financial institution and see if their card is better. See if you can transfer that card to save yourself some of that interest money. Refinance your home or automobile for a better rate. I know that's one of those very daunting tasks you think about having to do, but truthfully, in this internet time, in this digital world, those things have really become easier than in the past. Simply as simple as calling your financial institution or your card and requesting a reduction on your interest rates. You can do that. Did you know that? Did you know that you can call your financial institution, you can call your credit cards and simply request that you get a better rate? More often than not, they'll give you a better rate because they don't want to see you go. So simply asking is a really big key. Seek out cheaper entertainment options such as lower cable, like we've talked about Netflix. I have a friend that they're travelers, and so this has been such a hard time for them. So what they do every other Friday, which I thought was really cool, is they go on the internet and they virtually tour a country. So they virtually tour a country, they go down the streets, you can go to Google Earth. They actually make a drink from that place. They sip their cocktails and walk the streets virtually. I thought that was such a very just really imaginative way to entertain themselves while travel is still so iffy. And prep meals at home for the work week. I tell you, Andrea put a recipe on the Facebook that I actually invited myself over to try. And it was delicious. It was so delicious that I went out to get it, and I've actually meal prepped my whole week. Are you proud of me, Andrea? And yeah, so opening yourself up to those things. I honestly didn't think that that was something I wanted to do or that I thought would be good. I'm really, really too close to some fast food restaurants that are just easy when I'm out and about. But doing that has saved me money just this week. So I'm super excited to have had that opportunity to learn. And using travel Visa cards when you do get to travel is so important. Travel Visa cards are not only guaranteed, your funds are insured, but then you kind of allowed yourself a budget. So when that card is full, it's full. I know a lot of people that do this for even monthly budgets, like their wants and their needs. They put their wants on a travel Visa card, and once that's gone, that's gone. So creating a monthly budget binder, I told you this is something that I do. I just have a binder that is full of notebook paper and I write down my month to month. This is how you can visually see where your wiggle room is. Simply Google budget worksheet and you'll have many free options. This is one that it looks like. And a lot of them you can fill out digitally, or you can, I'm old school, I like paper. I print it out and I write it out every month. Excuse me. This is important. Shop around for your financial home. Your financial home is a place that you should feel comfortable to get the answers that you want in a kind, quick, and precise manner. And you also should feel comfortable with your financial establishment in asking any question. If you, for one moment, are at a financial institution such as a bank or a credit union where you don't feel comfortable to ask a question or you feel silly asking a question, that is not the financial home for you. You need to be able to have your finances somewhere where they're going to be honest with you, kind with you, and quick and precise. Don't settle for a place to do your finances simply because it's easier to be there. It's the same as the auto insurance or refinancing your home, the daunting task of doing all those things and transferring your finances. We live in such a digital era now that it's so easy to transfer your funds if you're not comfortable where your finances are. You should feel safe and secure and free to ask any questions. This is your money. You are putting your trust in those people when you're putting your finances in that establishment. So make sure that that feels like a good establishment. That feels like a financial home for you. I get asked this all the time because I do work for University Federal Credit Union. We've been around since 1937. We serve the student, staff, and faculty of UND. But the problem is we've been around since 1937 and people don't always know who we are or where we are and what's the difference between a credit union and a bank. So this is what I'd like to close with today, are the differences. Now, credit unions are not for profit. It's not to be confused with nonprofit. Of course, we are a profit institution. We do have to make our money, but we don't wake up in the morning thinking, how can we get a profit off of our members? We wake up with how we can serve our members because they are our owners. For banks, they are profit driven. They have shareholders that may or may not be members of that financial institution. And when they make their money goes to their shareholders. When we make our money goes back to our members in the form of lower interest rates, lower fees, or to avoid fees. We offer all the financial service products that a bank does: savings accounts, checking accounts, loans, CDs, mortgages, all of those things we offer. The membership is different. Like we are considered a closed charter credit union, which means we serve just a specific amount of people, which is the UND community. Where banks, anyone can join. However, credit unions have situations where you can join even if you're not in that core group of people. Perhaps you have somebody that goes to UND that lives in your household that would qualify you to open an account at our credit union. And once you're a member, you're always a member. So whether you work at UND or a student at UND, when you graduate or when you retire, you're still a member of ours. So those are the main difference between credit unions and banks. So I really appreciate you having me here today. I know that budgets are not always fun to talk about, but I believe strongly in the 50, 30, 20, just for that visual representation of where your money goes. Don't be hard on yourself if one month looks better than the other. The key is just to keep trying. Thank you so much.
Are there any questions for Nanci before we finish up?
Feel free to contact me at any time, even if you would like us to take a look at your budget. It's something that we do for free, that we would be more than happy to help you set up into a 50, 30, 20, or perhaps you want to look at it a different way. It is a service that we offer for free to if you're a member or not a member. So please know that you can come to us at any time for those things.
Well, awesome. Well, thank you, everybody. you do, like I said, if you do need anything, reach out to either myself or Nancy. I can get you in touch with Nancy as well. So
Absolutely.
thank you, everyone.
If you want any of the information, my email address is right there. Please email me and I will forward you all the links to the budget worksheets and 50-30-20 information.
And the app. You talked about an app.
Yeah, I need to refresh myself.
We have a lot of folks. So Nancy, if you don't mind sending that to me, I can forward that out to everybody as well.
Absolutely. It's an awesome app.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.